Now this separate rule book and this Puritan ideology, they get policed by this one very simplistic, very sinister, very dangerous question, which is, what percentage of my donation goes to the cause versus overhead? And we want the amount going to the cause to be very high and the amount going to overhead to be very low. Makes sense if you don't think about it for 30 seconds. But if you think about it for 30 seconds, the logic of it really begins to disintegrate. And never underestimate the ability of human beings to not think about things for 30 seconds. You know, I don't know, maybe half of you in this room are old enough to remember that there was a period, and it lasted for decades, when we walked around airports dragging the luggage before it dawned on us that we could put wheels on the suitcases. You know, there's this company, Samsonite. All they need to do is think about suitcases. It takes them 50 years to figure out wheel, suitcase. We could put these two things together. I was just thinking this morning, why do we call the places where we park driveways and the places where we drive parkways? You know? It's just, so anyway, if it took us that long to figure out wheels on suitcases, you can imagine how long it might take us to inquire into the difficulties with this question. Well, it turns out there are some big problems with this question. 3 categories of problems. The first is, it makes us think that overhead is not part of the cause. But it absolutely is, unless there's fraud going on. And if there's fraud going on, no one's going to report it in line item detail on their Form 990 so that everybody will know they're committing fraud. Then every dollar that a charity spends in good faith, it spends to advance the cause in the way it believes the cause can best be advanced. This idea that overhead somehow steals from the cause or is not an essential part of the cause creates this second, much bigger problem, which is it forces charities to go without the things they really need to solve problems in the interest of keeping overhead low. So for example, maybe an organization wants to hire a powerful new leader who has an incredible vision for solving some social problem, but the person comes at a price, and the board looks at it and says, that's a lot of money, you know, that's going to really raise our overhead and it's going to put us out of joint with the other charities that are our size. Let's go find someone for half the price who doesn't have a vision of how to solve the social problem in the interest of keeping overhead low. Or maybe an organization wants to double their fundraising staff in order to quadruple their fundraising revenues. But the board looks at it and says, you know, we're going to have to book all that expense this year. Our overhead's going to go up. We're going to lose our watchdog stars. Let's just keep the organization development the size that it is. So we're systematically forcing charities to obsess over keeping short-term overhead low at the expense of solving problems. We've built a whole market around it. Well, if what we tell charities is, look, all that really matters is that your overhead is low, and my willingness to donate to you depends on you keeping your overhead low, then what we're going to get is low overhead, or at least the appearance of it. If we don't ever say anything about, I want you to solve this social problem and I want you to solve it quickly, then that becomes a secondary matter.